A security video obtained by ABQ Raw shows Dr. Samantha Sengel, the Chief Administration Officer for the City of Albuquerque, and the Mayor's Government Affairs Administrator, Mandy Hinosa, entering the City Council office foyer with a key card. This was after hours, and City of Albuquerque City Councilors were angry with this act. It became a focus for 20 minutes during the City Council meeting held on February 5th, 2024. Here are the highlights from that discussion.
This is not about the air quality legislation. This is about how it was delivered to our office. So recently it came to our attention that after approximately 6:30 on a Friday night, when there was no one in the council office, you and our former city clerk gained access using a grandmaster key, not the magnetic card key, in order to walk into our lobby and put legislation underneath the partition and for it to be noted to be received. It happened to be the mayor's appointees of the Air Quality Board, but we wouldn't know that because we didn't actually receive it by any of our staff or our director or the council president. I do have a significant problem with this. And I recognize now that there are no policies in place that dictate otherwise, so I'm working on that to make sure that we correct it as soon as possible so that we can be very clear on how the council should be treated as an equal branch of government, not as an employee or a department of the mayor's office.
I fully respect your legislative role as a legislative branch of the city. I will just admit to you that my intent was simply to ensure that we met the ordinance and to make sure that we dropped that off. There was no malfeasance intended whatsoever. Just to clarify, there was no master key. I'm not, there's no key. It was my electronic badge. So there is a timestamp for my access to that room.
Madam CAO, I'm sorry to interrupt. Mr. President, is there a timestamp of the master key for the card keys for what happened at Council Services office on that Friday?
Ms. Perdue.
Mr. President, Councilor Bassan, we did request the information from All Badge Access on that day, and it doesn't show anybody that clocked in around that time.
And is there another way to get into the Council Services office if you do not have a magnetic card key?
Mr. President, Councilor Bassan, you can enter with a key if you have the key to the building, but if for some reason the badge access isn't showing up, then we need to contact the building maintenance and ask them why we're not getting that, because when we looked through it, there was nobody showed up around that time.
So let me just say unequivocally that that's just absolutely unacceptable, and we're certainly not going to allow that unless there's the ninth floor is burning or someone's dying on the ninth floor and you need access in an emergency situation. Otherwise, it's just unacceptable.
We've actually talked to our staff. Our staff has never had an issue like this ever in I don't know how many years that the city council has been in, and our oldest staffer has been working. And based on the fact that you come into an office where there's integrity on your side, integrity on our side, legislative branch versus the executive branch, and I already heard your answer, but what would have happened? What would have happened if it would have been, if the shoe was on the other foot and we or one of our staff members entered the mayor's office in the same way? One, we can't do it because none of us have a super secret passcode or super key to get in. So I want to know how that would make you feel and how would you be dealing with it on the outset? And how would you feel like we do?
Mr. President, Councilor Sanchez, first I want to take exception to some of the definitive statements. I think it's important that not this specific fact pattern, but we do know that staff has dropped off after hours to City Council and has done so with phone message or phone notice. It is your Director of Council Services that has done that. So I understand there's it is separate or different in the sense that the phone call was made, and it is great that I have learned of that since that Friday night. It is an opportunity for learning.
Go to abqraw.com for the full story. Follow us on all of our social media channels, and stay safe, Albuquerque.